Good morning. Grandmother clock is chiming 11. Cuckoo will not be far behind. So it must be time to talk about the ketogenic diet on a Saturday morning. Hi, my name is Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey. There goes Cuckoo. And I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds since starting the ketogenic diet and how you might be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life, as I have done. As always, if I may ask your indulgence while I do some behind the scenes things here, I want to share this video in a couple of places. So I'll try to do two things at once, something that I'm not always successful at. So today I want to talk about, and excuse me while I look away from the camera while I share this, I want to talk about a particular study that it's all over the news in the last few days. And I'm going to be really clear with you. I am not a researcher, scientist, medical professional. I have a degree in piano performance, and I sold real estate for 30 years. So I can only tell you my perspective as a well-educated, highly motivated former fatty who has really benefited from the ketogenic diet. And I have one more share, so bear with me. I must figure out a way to do this automatically, and there probably is a way. I just don't know what it is, and I haven't taken the time to figure it out. Excuse me, I mistyped. If I could type, that would be good. So this study, for those of you who don't know, the bullet headline, oh dear, guess what? I didn't plug in my phone. My battery's going to go out. Hold, please. Low battery. Hold, please. Am I plugged in? Hold, please. Now I think I'm plugged in. Okay, sorry about that. Technology. Okay, this study, for those of you who didn't see it, bullet headline is, study reveals low-carb diet can shorten lifespan. In truth, I saw that and I chuckled. And I thought, well, that is just, on the face of it, silly to me. Again, I'm not a researcher, scientist, what have you. I'm just somebody who's lost a boatload of weight. All of my health indicators are superlative, and they weren't before. And I feel fantastic. So really, how is that going to shorten my lifespan? As I have said, I'm pretty confident that, I'm not going to live forever, although I do have really high HDL. But when my time comes, I'm very confident that it's more likely to come at the hands of the zombie apocalypse than it is to come at the hands of my ketogenic diet. I'm not going to refute the points in there. That's been done by people who really know what they're talking about. I will refer you specifically to Zoe Harcombe, ZoeHarcombe, a Brit who almost line by line just shredded this so-called study. My guess is that people who have already benefited or are in the process of seeing benefits from this diet would laugh at it as well and aren't going to be swayed by, it's not even a study. It was a couple of surveys filled out. And FYI, how do you have a decent study about lifespan unless the study goes for about 85 years? Silly. Anywho, my thoughts are that probably people like me who have benefited, it's a non-issue. But what is too bad? Hey, Stacy. Stacy writes, I thought it was a joke, like from The Onion, right? People, I heard from people, you've probably heard people say, I got this email to me by my husband who doesn't like the way I eat, my cousin who's afraid I'm going to drop dead, my coworker, see, I told you this was not healthy. People who are just getting started or are confused may be really scared. You always have to do what makes sense to you. If it doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. If you're overly afraid of, no, I shouldn't say overly afraid. If you are afraid of this protocol, don't follow it. There are lots of ways to lose weight and improve your health. This just happens to be really straightforward and really simple and ultimately very economical, and it's just food. So I would like the authors of that so-called study to really, shame on them, think about how reducing blood pressure, blood sugar, all these happened to me personally, I'm speaking from my experience. Blood pressure, blood sugar, lowered my triglycerides, increased my HDL, lost 97.4 pounds. I take 0 medications, and I'm 60 years old. And I was teetering on having to take medications for everything. Everything hurt. How is that going to impact my lifespan? The only way the ketogenic diet is going to shorten my lifespan is if I step into the street in front of a bacon truck. So there. Do what works for you. Do what makes sense to you. If something doesn't feel right in your gut, you should pardon the expression. Don't do it. But I will tell you, a lot of people report that gut issues improve. Irritable bowel syndrome, acid reflux, things like that improve pretty quickly. So don't believe a talking head. Certainly don't believe a bad study from probably sources that have conflicting interests. Excuse me, as I sip something to wet my whistle. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm not, again, I'm not a researcher. Zoe Harcum does a pretty good job. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to waste any breath on that silly thing no more. Now, I do want to give you an update. 4 weeks from today, the Adapt Your Life event in Roxborough, which is near Raleigh-Durham, is happening. I'm beyond honored to be part of one of the keynote speakers, along with Amy Berger, Wickham Simons, Christy Honeycutt Sullivan, Eric Westman, 5, I think it is now, success stories, people who have had, real life people who've had success. They will be speaking. There is a program, Go to Adapt Your Life, and they're almost sold out. Oh, I just got a message today. They're almost sold out. So we're going to be at about 350 people if it goes to capacity, which is the fire limit. So check it out. And then the week after that, Portland, Oregon, Go Keto with Casey Roadshow. I'm really excited to share that Peter Ballerstedt, a forage agronomist, is going to be speaking. He's smart and funny and approachable, and we're going to have a great time. So check that out at my blog, Go Keto with Casey Roadshow, Portland. And let me see what else. Oh, and thank you to patrons. Several of you are here, and thank you for making it possible for me to do things like this free stuff because of the behind the scenes. And if you become a patron, I do about 20 videos a month just for patrons, and then we have patron-only live streams, patron-only group video chats, and one-on-ones depending on your pledge level. There you go. And some patrons get a discount on swag, which you can go to my blog and see a mug and a shirt and a journal. Okay, commercial over. Does anyone have any questions for me personally or for each other? Because keep in mind, we are doing this for each other. If we're going to rely on what we read out there, we're going to get really confused. Let's listen to people who are actually making it happen. So does anyone have something they would like to share? Now I'm going to try not to zoom in with my Google eyes with my glasses to see comments, but they are hard to see sometimes as they zip by. Can't wait for the event on the 22nd. Yes, indeed. I want to aim for the Portland, Oregon show, but I can't figure my way around work. Just started my job 2 weeks ago. Don't think I can take the time off. Still, love that you'll be in the neighborhood. Yeah, you don't want to risk your time. Now, it's on a Saturday. I don't know if that makes a difference. In Portland, the attendees, there's a Friday evening kind of wine reception meet and greet, and then Saturday is the event itself between 9 and 3. Would say more, but have broken wrist. Oh dear, Joan, I'm sorry. Ouchie. Have I had any injuries that heal faster because of keto? No, I can't say that I have. I'm very fortunate. I don't think I've had any injuries. I burn myself continually because not only am I a lazy cook, I'm a clumsy one. So, you reach into the oven, you're not supposed to lift your hands up and zip on the burner, on the rack. But I will tell you this. I used to get upper respiratory infections and just crud several times a year. I've always been prone to it since I was a child. I had, kind of chronic bronchitis from the time I was about 9 years old. No more. I fought off. I could feel it coming on about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. My glands were just as big as jawbreakers, and, I said, oh, it's coming on, and my eyes were pressure. It was gone in a day. I don't load up on supplements. I don't take any supplements. My husband passed me this morning. He insisted I eat breakfast. So I did. He called me down and said, your coffee's ready. And when I came down, he had this big breakfast ready for me, and he pushed a multivitamin on me. But no, I haven't had any injuries. But I haven't gotten sick really either. Maybe one time both my husband and I got something that was really going around. And that was last year, I think. Okay, someone, Tatiana Murillo writes, I don't like stevia. Can I still use Splenda? It doesn't affect me, but they say it's a big no. Okay, I don't know who they is. This is a problem with they. They. I said I wasn't going to say any more about that study. But in the big picture, here's what I want us to think about. They can say anything they want, and they will. They will say everything, and I'm using air quotes they will say that a low-carb diet will shorten your lifespan. They will say that low-fat is the way to go. They will say that Splenda will make your gut explode. They will say that you should only eat grass-fed beef. They will say anything you want them to say. There is an opinion about everything. Okay, to steal a line from Dr. Eric Westman from his white coat video. When he first he is a traditionally trained internist who was, low fat, move more, eat less, until he saw people in his practice who had started following very low carb, and they were successful. And he said, I wasn't so overtrained that I couldn't see what was going on in front of my very eyes. Let's not be so overly concerned about they, whoever they are, whichever side of the fence they fall on, or, apparently there are a whole bunch of sides of fences now. Let's not be so overly concerned about they that we can't see what's going on in front of our very eyes with our very own bodies. We make the decisions. If you like Splenda, use Splenda. We use Splenda. We buy it by the giant bag at Costco. They say maltodextrin's going to kill us. Well, again, zombie apocalypse I think I'm more worried about. Use what works for you. We tried all the different non-sugar sweeteners. We didn't like the aftertaste in any of them. And so we went right back to Splenda. Do what works for you. Some people will say any artificial sweetener triggers cravings in them. So listen to yourself. Deanna Ramen Girl. Mr. and Mrs. King, give your body time to adjust. It happens in fits and spurts. If you're feeling okay, just stay the course and this will pass. I'm not sure what their issue was, but yeah, absolutely. We become impatient, understandably. We want to feel better so much. We want to lose weight so much. Let's put the shallow part of this to the side for that shallow and vain part of ourselves. Let's not worry about, losing body fat more than we are concerned about getting off of medications, feeling better, being able to move better, enjoying life more. With an extended lifespan, I intend to enjoy it. And that's another thing. Wonder if they actually studied a true keto follower. No, they didn't. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Do you eat a certain amount of calories a day? Asks Judith Tucker. No, I have no idea how many calories I eat. And days are different. This is another thing. Don't let an app or a chart tell you what to eat or how much to eat. How does it know how much you should be eating? Does it know how hungry you are or how much even if it can calculate, I'm an active person and I rode my bicycle 5 miles. Listen to your body. I don't know how many calories I eat. I've never tracked my calories since I started this. I tracked carbs. That's it. I keep my carbohydrate intake 20 grams or fewer a day. I eat fatty sources of meat and I don't eat if I'm not hungry, which is the hardest part. And some days like this morning, I ate a big breakfast because my lovely mate had it prepared for me. He was just feeling that way this morning. So I wasn't really hungry, but I ate it and I'm not worried about it. So I usually try to do a little quick thing in the beginning for those of you, because not everyone knows what the ketogenic diet, the ketogenic diet means, and the keto part comes from the word ketosis or ketones. If you reduce your carbohydrate intake to a level where your liver is no longer providing glucose for fuel, which just about anybody who is doing anything other than a very low carb diet, that is the case. Your body, deprived of glucose for fuel, turns to burning ketones for fuel. It's happy to do so. It mobilizes fat cells to get to those nice stored. That's what the fat is on our body for. It's reserve fuel. It's just a lot of us have not had to tap into our reserves in a long time. Or we haven't been able to get to those reserves, frankly, because when you're burning glucose for fuel and insulin is sent out from the pancreas to deal with that glucose, it kind of blocks the magic key to get to the fat stores. It's all very physiological. But suffice to say, keep your carb intake to a level where you're not burning glucose for fuel. For most people, it'll work at 20 grams. Some people have a little bit higher tolerance. Some people have a lower tolerance. But pretty much across the board, 20 grams total not net a day will work. Eat fatty sources of protein. What does that mean? Eat meat, poultry, fish, with the fat that comes with it. Fortunately, that's usually the cheaper cuts of meat and poultry. Chicken thighs are cheaper than a boneless, skinless chicken breast. And they're fattier, which is great, and tastier. And don't eat if you're not hungry. And so some days, yesterday, I think this is why my husband had breakfast ready for me. I ate very little yesterday, simply wasn't hungry. The day before, I ate more. I've started going to the gym again. So, the day after I work out, I tend to be more hungry. And I swam that day, and that really made me hungry. So listen to your body and keep in mind this. By definition, your body consumes the calories it needs. Combination of what you put in your mouth, and this is when you're burning fat for fuel particularly, combination of what you put in your mouth and what you've got on board. Your fat stores on your badonkadonk, your arms, your thighs, your chins, your belly. And speaking as someone who had a tremendous amount of junk in my trunk, I had lots of reserves. So I don't eat 2 calories. I don't eat to grams of fat or protein. I don't have any idea how many grams of protein or fat I eat. And now I don't even measure the carbs anymore because many days I don't eat any carbs. I mean, just minimal. There are carbs, 0.6 grams of carbohydrate in an egg. But, most I'm eating meat and eggs and dairy, full fat. Okay, I'm looking down to see questions. Avocado was done pure magic for my hair. I could never get my hair to grow, and yeah, but avocado's not unlimited, keep in mind. It's delicious, it's very good for you. Gram for gram, there's more potassium in avocado than there is in banana. It's very nutritious, but it's calorically and carbohydrate dense. So a half of a medium avocado a day is the limit. And I don't even eat that. I mean, my husband eats, sometimes he'll eat a whole one a day, a half at lunch and a half at dinner. He's a dude. He has more muscle mass. He has a physically demanding job. So, you're welcome, Judith. Hi from Newfoundland. Hey, Leah. I'm so proud of myself for learning about the geography of the world. Between patrons and subscribers to my blog, I know about the Maritimes in Canada. I know that the UK is made up of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. Is there another? Oh, I thought I knew it all. Love experiencing the new keto recipes. I never used to eat chicken thighs. Now I love them. Don't be afraid to try new things. Indeed. Yes, there is a lot of misinformation out there, Jen. And I try not to promulgate it. If I've led anyone astray, I apologize. I really just try to share my experiences. I'm not a medical provider. I am not a researcher. But I am an expert on what's happened to me. So I try to share that and my understanding of the research. What are you drinking? It looks good. Okay, I filled the glass up with ice, a splash of diet cranberry, just a pshit, and the rest is diet tonic water. And it's refreshing and it's light and tastes good. Hi from Canada's capital. Yay, good morning. Beth writes, it's all amazing. I see people's grocery carts and I know they're following keto. Isn't that something? Isn't it interesting that you start to notice what other people are shopping for and what they're ordering in restaurants? And it's got one extreme to the other. And do you find that when you see, and this is no judgment, but when you go to a restaurant, for instance, or the grocery store, and you see people's carts, and you see all the food is beige and fried and piled high, and you go, oh, these poor people, if only they knew. Robin Beckler writes, I find I like olives. Okay, Heidi Folly, thoughts on the coconut oil poison thing? Silliness. I'm guessing, again, I don't, why would it be poison? It's a medium chain triglyceride for the most part. And it's got to be tied to the old idea that fat leads to high cholesterol, leads to heart disease. I don't know. Keep in mind that cigarettes used to be touted as a health tool back in the 40s. And doctors used to make commercials for them. So consider the source of some of your information. I still buy my husband potatoes and hope no one notices my cart. Do you share how much you weigh? I don't, Carol. Thank you for the question. I jokingly say that I don't share how much I weigh now because my husband knows how much I've lost and he can do math. And I'm afraid if he ever figures out how much I weighed before, he will leave me retroactively. Of course he won't. And FYI, we sleep together. So he kind of knew. It was really big. Actually, I'm 115 and a half pounds off my very highest weight. But 97.4 since starting keto full bore. But the other thing, that's a joke. I mean, it's true. I don't want him to know how much I weigh. But actually, we were talking about in our video group chat on Patreon. There are certain things that are just still knee-jerk reactions for me. I'm still very sensitive. One woman was sharing that she doesn't want to pull out the tape measure. And it's a really good idea to measure yourself, because it is a real thing to lose inches without losing ounces. But she just can't stand the idea of doing it or having anyone help her do it. I'm the same way on that. But the weight thing is really personal for me, so I don't share. I'll tell you almost anything else. Okay, yes, consider the source. Okay, and I do appreciate that question. I do get asked that, and it's not because I'm trying to not be transparent. Also, here's the other thing. We tend to, I don't share. I used to share on MyFitnessPal what I ate in a day because people asked. But I thought, that's not good. I don't want anyone, if I don't want an app to tell people what to eat, I certainly don't want me to tell people what to eat. And I don't want anyone thinking that if they're a 5'1" woman, they should weigh X, like Casey does. Or I don't want them to say, wow, she, if I weighed that much, I'd throw myself in front of a bacon truck. Or that's not healthy, or whatever. Because we are all different. And so I'm comfortable at my size right now. I'd like to lose 2.6 more pounds so I can say I lost 100 pounds, but that is pure vanity and ego and arbitrary. I'm very comfortable where I am. Deanna writes, I threw my scale away because I was letting it judge me. Yeah, it's a tool that should serve us. People say, oh, God, I weigh myself every day and I get so upset, or I weigh myself every Monday and I get so upset. Stop weighing yourself. Stop doing that. It's like if you continue to take your pen and poke it in your hand and it hurts. Stop doing that. It's not going to help you. If it helps you, great. If it motivates you, great. If it does not help you, if it makes you feel badly, whatever. For me, I weigh every single day. And with very few exceptions, when I was laid up from surgery or we were traveling, or one month when I said, I'm not going to weigh myself anymore because this is not working for me. I started weighing myself every day and logging it December 18th, 2000. And I have a spreadsheet that goes back that far. But it does serve me. So, I get a lot of negative comments such as, your butt's gone, eat for goodness sake. I used to be offended. Now I laugh and ask them to compare their lab results with mine. I'm on no meds at all. I'm 60, all because of keto. They said it couldn't be done. Right, sister? And I said sister. I do want to remind everyone, there are gentlemen who struggle with this just as women do. Men tend to get a little bit more of a pass on the physical piece, or maybe a lot more of a pass on that. But let's remember that there are gentlemen among us. There are gentlemen who are patrons, and this is not a girls' club. No one has said that, but I just said, let's talk about it, sister. Talk about it, friends. Someone just asked, please, 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 talk about my opinion on intermittent fasting 16/8. I've done that. I gave my opinion on that, and I'm happy to share it again, but I want to just give you this little tidbit, because I take these lives and I post them on YouTube. Such angry people respond. Now, I'm used to people kind of making snide remarks. It goes with the territory. But man, people are entrenched about the whole time-restricted eating thing, to the point where they wanted to give me lessons on my vocabulary. I'm pretty comfortable with my vocabulary. But my opinion is this: do what works for you. Time-restricted eating I think a lot of people who are following a well-formulated ketogenic diet will say, well, you normally fall into that anyway. You just eat less food. That's all it is, y'all. You're eating less food. And frankly, particularly the 16-8, people kind of used to eat that way all the time. When life was more regimented, when there were stores didn't stay open past 6 p.m. and nothing was open on the weekends, and businesses, people ate breakfast at about 8 and they ate dinner at about 5. Guess what that is? And people didn't sit in front of televisions, eating pie and popcorn all lot. It was just a different approach. So don't eat if you're not hungry. Eat when you're hungry. Push the peckishness. But that's my opinion. I think some people enjoy the structure. As I said yesterday, I barely ate anything. I did eat, but I have no idea what time I ate. I'm not going to restrict myself, because here's what I don't want to do. I'm afraid if I have time-restricted eating, which is a more accurate term for it, and what many of the professionals and presenters in San Diego at Low Carb USA called it, time-restricted eating. If I say I woke up hungry this morning, really hungry and empty, I want to eat, but I was locking myself into time-restricted eating, and I had told myself I only eat between noon and 4 or noon and 5, whatever it might be, well, then I would find myself constantly thinking about food until noon. And I'm not doing that anymore with my life. I've devoted enough of my life and my brain to thinking about food, and I'm not doing it again. One of the great gifts of this is those of you who bought the t-shirts from me, say it with me, y'all. One of the great gifts is, who's going to say it first? Or who's going to write it first? I should be accurate. I do try to be accurate in my vocabulary and grammar. Food is not the boss of me. Either way. Either when I do eat it or I don't eat it. Food is fuel. That's it. I'm not going to spend any more time giving it power. It is not a comfort to me unless I'm hungry. It is fuel for me so I can live the rest of my life. No matter, thank you, Stacy. Yes, food is not the boss of me. And I'm thinking the next mug is going to be a black one with a green rim that says food is not the boss of me. Because I do have the lime green mugs. When they're gone, by the way. Charlie Knew Me writes, or Sherry, I'm sorry, not Charlie. Sorry, comments are going by very quickly. Time-restricted eating, don't eat it anytime you are not hungry. Thank you, Vicki. Vicki's going to be in Portland. And Vicki, I think your mug should be arriving today. Don't eat if you're not hungry, anytime. It really is. Now, that is really simple to say. It ain't so easy to do. Right? And then stop when you're satisfied. I would tweak. All right, 2 tweaks for people who are, even if you've been successful, but now it's time to fine tune things. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Really, really. There's a wonderful, smart, witty woman I'm really looking forward to seeing again in Portland, who she was doing pretty well, but she kind of was hovering. We don't call it a stall or stuck or anything. She was hovering. And then in the last couple of weeks, every few days, she's hit a new low. Oh, really? What did you do differently? Even though she's heard this message, she knows the message, she is fully aware of the message, she said, I started only eating when I was hungry instead of out of habit. And it is so It is so much habit for us, not just a habit we picked up a couple of years ago. This is habit we've lived with essentially from the day we were born. Think about it. We've eaten every 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. Pretty much all of us for decades at kind of the same times, you know? So she became more cognizant of it. She simply is eating less food is all. There's nothing magical about that. Now the next thing is, this is something I've done, and it hasn't really resulted in weight loss. I'm pretty much, I will vary a little bit on my weight, but I haven't hit a new low in a long time. But I'm, within a pound and a half, or an extreme day, 2 pounds or a little bit more, I'll vary, but I go right back down. But I feel better, and my body composition, I think, has changed a little bit. One day I was eating my small portion, not huge, not microscopic, just my, because I don't eat that much. And something happened halfway through. I was eating, the phone rang. I walked around and talked to the person, came back, and I would have finished that entire portion had I remained there and the phone had not rung. But when I came back, it was maybe 8 or 10 minutes later. I don't even want the rest of this. It takes a few minutes for the signal to get to your brain that you've had enough. And that's one of the problems when we're burning glucose for fuel and insulin is being engaged to make sure that our blood glucose remains out of the danger zone. Another thing that insulin does is it blocks leptin, which is the hormone that tells us that we've had enough. Excuse me. So that's one reason we can keep eating an entire tub of popcorn or an entire sleeve of Chips Ahoy or mounds of French fries. We don't get the signal, you're enough. But when you're not burning glucose for fuel, your leptin has its nice little pathway up to your brain, but it takes a few minutes. So here's a tweak. Try this. It's not going to hurt. So you have your nice keto meal. Put your fork or spoon or knife down in between bites. If you're by yourself, have a nice thought. Turn on some music. Maybe read a book. Eat again. If you're not by yourself, have a chat with your lovely mate. What a thought. Have a conversation. And see if you are not satiated sooner. And then, if you stop, instead of shoveling, one thing, shoveling is not attractive. Or it's kind of impolite, actually. It's kind of rude. It's crude. You might get that satiety signal sooner. Consequently, you eat less food. Okay. Tweak. It helped me a lot when I learned the reasons I was eating, which was for anything. Oh, happy, sad. Food does not just... It's not really. We've made it connected, but it shouldn't be connected to any of those. And I apologize. I think someone asked me a question, and I just don't know how to get back up. I can't seem to get back up there to the questions. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to delay. Does anyone have another question? I'll try to look at the screen only. See, there's a delay. They seem to go. Okay. And it might be that everyone's asked their questions. Again, I don't have all the answers. I can tell you about me. Oh, I was asking about alcohol. This comes up a lot. I have enjoyed wine and spirits throughout the entire time. Never, I never stopped drinking. It's not like that. But I've enjoyed wine and spirits. Keep in mind that alcohol your body has to process, your liver has to process the alcohol as if it were a toxin, which it is. So it has to do that. That's first thing. Get rid of the toxin. Deal with the alcohol before it gets onto its other things. So think of it as kind of a pause on the fat burning thing. And of course, there are other things about alcohol. If you overindulge and your resistance goes low, you may find that you eat more. Oh yeah, I'm feeling great. Somebody cook me up a cheeseburger, whether or not you're hungry. And watch your resistance levels, because as you lose weight, you're eating less, you might find that your tolerance for alcohol changes as well. And at this point, I prefer spirits. So I'll have a cocktail. But it's always with diet mixers, unless it's a straight up cocktail like a martini or a Manhattan, which I really like. I tend to not feel as well now after wine, for whatever reason. That was never that way before, but now it is. So listen to your body. Don't start drinking if you don't already. For nausea, try drinking pickle or olive juice. Something about them settles my stomach. What is your fat intake? I need ideas. Okay, Cherry, you must not have heard previously. I have no idea. Here is the protocol I follow as I was taught by Dr. Eric Westman, or from Dr. Eric Westman. Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day, total, not net. Eat fatty sources of protein, some dairy, if you can tolerate it. There's a food list, which I even hesitate to even bring up. You can find the copy I followed at my blog. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Nowhere in that does it talk about grams of fat or grams of protein or calories. If you keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day and eat fatty sources of protein, it's all going to work itself out. Sandy Strunk writes, it was amazing to get to the point where I was actually able to tell when I was empty and truly hungry. The term peckish really fits that feeling. It does, and it's gotten really dark in here. The lighting in my house is so odd. So sorry about that. I hope you can still see me. Seems like I've gone away somewhere. Excuse me. I need a mute button. Peckish, and I push the peckishness, because I'll find that I'm kind of peckish, and I used to, as soon as I got peckish, I ate. What I found was that if I just push the peckishness, I'm the same level of peckish for hours. It doesn't get any worse. I was nauseous all day Thursday and was wanting saltines. No, that was an old link. Okay, someone's just sent me a message. Okay, I don't think it's directed for me right now. Sorry. Oh, I do want to remind everyone about the Go Keto with Casey, the cruise in March of 2019. This is going to be fun. This will be a time there will be some, not formal, but we'll have a meeting room to get together, days at sea, and we're going to hang. We're going to have fun. One of the attendees teaches nurses things. She's a nurse, and she's offered to do some presentations. So if you're interested in that, go to my blog. To get the group goodies, you need to book through Lisa at Coastline Travel, but you can see that at my blog. It's going to be a lot of fun. Bonnie Walker. Dr. Eric Westman recommends Carb Smart yogurt from Kroger. What are your thoughts on using cultured yogurt and counting half the carbs? I don't have any thoughts on that. I make yogurt, or I have made yogurt. I haven't made it in a while, and I'll use it sometimes. My husband uses it more, but yogurt, if you think about it, fermented foods, the fermentation process eats the sugars, which is why wine, it eats the sugars in the grapes. Yogurt eats the sugars in the milk, the lactose. I really do look dark. This is spooky. Ooh. So I don't worry about it, to be honest. When I don't have any thoughts about it one way or the other. Just make sure whatever you're doing, there's no fruit, no added sugars. Because people think they're doing great eating the yogurt, and it's just full of sugar if it has fruit in it. I mean, syrupy fruit. Maybe Santa will get me a cruise. Oh, that'd be nice. Oh, thank you for answering the questions. And I do appreciate you guys. I am going to start to close down. I actually have a session in a few minutes. But does anyone have anything else they'd like to know, or any specifics? Again, I can only tell you about my experience and my understanding of the physiology. Most I want to say that this really does work. It's not a scam. It's not there's not a trick to it. It's not a fad. It's the way we were designed to eat. Low fat, that was a fad and a bad experiment. And we were the guinea pigs. And we all turned into little pigs. Oink, oink. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Susan writes, what to eat during a colitis flare? Okay, I had chronic ulcerative colitis as well as a lot of other things, and I really don't have any, but if I have any issue, I just keep eating the same way. I don't change anything. I eat the way I eat. Susan, try going to all beef hamburger and liver if you can tolerate it. That's another thing. My husband and I never really enjoyed it, but man, I really like beef liver now. And it's so good for you. Taste buds do change. Okay, guys, I am going to sign off. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your Saturday. And check out Patreon if you'd like to there's a bunch of patron-only content. And it's patron only. I mean, you're not going to see it anywhere else. Not that it's, but, for $2 a month, you're going to get 20 videos of me in my kitchen drinking coffee with pillow hair first thing in the morning. It's a sight. And then it goes up from there from other things. So check out patreon.com/GoKetoWithKasey. Check out my blog, Casey Durango, for swag and information about Portland and the cruise. And also I do, on the second Monday of the month, I have a meetup in Greensboro at Wine Styles, informal, just talking. And have faith in yourself. Listen to you. Don't, have faith. Be kind to yourself. Stick with it. There's no magic. There's no magic. And realize that if you eat less food than you are not going to keel over. Okay? Listen to your body. It's amazing. It'll tell you what it needs you to know. But you gotta listen. Okay. Have a good one. TTFN.